What if I told you that the first war in history didn't happen on Earth, but in heaven? That before the battles of empires and kings, there was a rebellion so powerful, it forever altered the destiny of humanity. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? After all, how could an angel, created perfect and cloaked in glory and beauty, become God's greatest enemy? It's exactly this paradox that few understand, and that's where the truth begins to sting. Many people think of Lucifer as just a mythical or symbolic figure, but the fall of Lucifer was a real event that left marks still visible today. What happened in heaven didn't stay in heaven. The same seeds of pride and rebellion born there keep repeating in our choices, in the systems we create, and even in the hidden desires of the human heart. This isn't just a distant tale. It's a mirror reflecting what we live every day. Now, the big question is, why doesn't anyone talk about this in depth? Maybe because the truth about the fallen angel is too uncomfortable. Or maybe because it exposes the invisible war we're still caught in. But anyone who grasps this forbidden secret will begin to see life differently, and will understand why victory is already guaranteed, even when everything seems lost. Lucifer, before his fall, wasn't seen as an enemy, but as the most radiant angel of all creation. Covered in precious stones that reflected God's glory, he looked like a living mirror of celestial light. His voice had the power to silence all of heaven. Such was the harmony it conveyed. Imagine witnessing a choir so beautiful it gives you chills, and still realizing his voice stood out above the rest. That was Lucifer, the angel who seemed made to be perfect. His position was unique, the covering cherub, the one closest to God's throne. He was like the most trusted royal guard, but also the most admired. If you've ever seen someone at work, school, or even in your family always receive the highest praise, you can grasp what this meant. He stood at the center of attention, in the place of greatest honor, and everyone recognized it. But what seemed like pure privilege carried within it a test that few understand. Because little by little, something began to grow in his heart: pride. Here's a simple analogy. How many times does a promotion or a material achievement tempt someone to think they're better than others? That's exactly where Lucifer's rebellion began. When perfection and honor, instead of fostering humility, became the seed of a dangerous desire. And that's when the story takes a shocking turn. When God revealed his plan to create mankind in his own image, something deeply stirred within Lucifer. The angel who already held pride in his heart couldn't bear the thought of serving creatures made from the dust of the earth. To him, it felt almost insulting, a demotion of his position. That was the moment when the fall of Lucifer began to take shape. Pride and rebellion united like a hidden flame ready to ignite all of heaven. The idea that one day the Son of God would become human and live among us was unacceptable to the angel who was now a fallen angel in the making. This is when Lucifer began to plot, silently questioning, sowing tiny doubts. If you've ever seen someone in a group start making subtle, snide comments, you know how easily that can poison the atmosphere. Manipulation, even when subtle, has the power to erode trust. He became a master of planting seeds, nothing too direct, but whispers, provocations, comparisons. Like that inner voice saying, "Is this fair? Don't we deserve more?" That was Lucifer's strategy, to weaken confidence, stir up pride in others, and gradually turn admiration into suspicion. And when a powerful heart starts infecting others, war in heaven becomes inevitable. Lucifer's rebellion didn't stop at words. It escalated until it divided heaven itself. A third of the angels followed his message of pride and defiance. Imagine an entire army splitting in two. On one side, Michael and the faithful angels. On the other, Lucifer and his followers. This was the first major conflict in history. The war in heaven, where common weapons had no place, but power, authority, and glory clashed in full force. This battle wasn't just cosmic, it was symbolic. It represented the eternal struggle between humility and pride, obedience and rebellion. When Michael rose up, it wasn't in his own strength, but in full trust in the Almighty God. It's like when a just leader stands against a manipulated crowd. It's not about numbers, but about truth. The war revealed a harsh reality. Not all that shines is light, and not all power deserves trust. Defeated, the fallen angel was cast out. Lucifer, now called Satan, suffered the most humiliating fall ever recorded, from standing before the throne to being banished far from God's presence. And here's a reflection. How often does choosing pride end in total loss? Be it in work, relationships, or personal life, the outcome is the same: ruin. But Satan's exile wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of his attacks against humanity. Cast out of heaven, Lucifer didn't abandon his rebellion. As a fallen angel, he turned his cunning against mankind, and his first target was Eden. There, disguised as a serpent, he deceived Eve with subtle words, and Adam also gave in. That was the first strike of Lucifer's fall against God's plan. It wasn't just a piece of fruit eaten. It was a breach of trust that opened the gates to pain, fear, and death. From that moment, Satan wove his schemes. He used Cain against Abel, stirred humanity to such corruption that the flood became necessary and inspired the Tower of Babel. Always the same strategy: feed pride, provoke disobedience, spread chaos. It's like someone sabotaging a project. They don't need to destroy everything at once, just implant flaws that weaken the foundation over time. That was the method of Lucifer's rebellion. Even the greats of faith weren't immune. Pharaoh hardened his heart, David fell into adultery, and even chosen men had moments of weakness. Satan constantly tried to block the arrival of the promised Messiah. Think of an enemy who knows he's doomed but fights desperately to delay the inevitable. This is where the story shifts again, because even with all his tricks, ultimate victory was drawing near. At the cross, Satan thought he had won. The Son of God, hanging between two thieves, seemed like the end of the promise. But it was right there that Lucifer's fall reached its final sentence. When Jesus rose from the dead, he took the keys of death and hell, proving that neither Lucifer's rebellion nor his war in heaven could undo God's plan. It was like an unexpected checkmate. The enemy realized he had lost too late. This victory wasn't just spiritual, it changed human history. Even today, millions find hope through the resurrection. It's like someone who overcomes an unbearable loss and discovers strength they never knew they had. Christ's victory paved the way for anyone, even those crushed by pride or temptation, to begin again. The sacrifice wasn't a tragic end, it was a glorious beginning. But the story isn't over yet. The final judgment is already written. Jesus will return, defeat Satan with a single word, and throw the fallen angel into the lake of fire. Then the earth will be restored. No pain, no tears, no death. Can you imagine waking up in a world like that? No fear, no sorrow, no loss. That promise isn't fiction. It's the future for those who remain faithful to the end. Now that you know the truth behind Lucifer's fall, the war in heaven, and Christ's victory, the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you keep living as if this were just another story, or will you face the fact that this spiritual battle still echoes today? Like it or not, every choice you make is like a vote in this invisible war. Think about it. How often has pride tried to take over your decisions? How many times has a silent rebellion against what you know is right pulled you away from what truly matters? The difference now is that you have clarity, and clarity demands action. It's not enough to just listen. You must decide if you'll keep falling for the same lies that brought down angels, or rise on the side of the victory that's already been won. So I ask you, will you let this message die here, or will you apply it to your life? If this story stirred something in you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because what's coming next will open your eyes even more to secrets that have been hidden for centuries. And maybe, just maybe, it's exactly what you need to change your walk forever, is that brought down angels, or rise on the side of the victory that's already been won. So I ask you, will you let this message die here, or will you apply it to your life? If this story stirred something in you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because what's coming next will open your eyes even more to secrets that have been hidden for centuries. And maybe, just maybe, it's exactly what you need to change your walk forever.